Alright guys, welcome back to another Patreon request, and this time around we're going to be talking about, as you can see from this title, my 10 favorite Hulk fights. This request comes from my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, thank you once again. And yeah, now it was going to be top 10, but the problem was I had so much trouble trying to rank them that I just was like, fuck, I will just do this as, I'll just do this as, as like just 10 fights in general. So there we go. So as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. It's the third tier that allows you to do that, as well as check out all the stuff over on Patreon, all the exclusive content, like the recent Five Nights at Freddy's video I did, as well as a new Versus and non-comic lineup I did over there. But anyway, let's get started with this. Now, a couple ground rules, first and foremost. I'm only going to be doing Marvel fights. As in, these are Hulk versus hero fights. That's what Chris wanted me to see. And plus, I'm not going to have him where Hulk fought other characters outside of Marvel Comics, like his fight with Pitt from Image, or his fight with Superman from those comics. This is just going to be in-house, and it's going to be heroes. So we're not going to see like Hulk versus Thanos or Hulk versus Onslaught on this list. This is just when the Hulk was taking on some of the other heroes in the Marvel Universe. So let's get started. So of course, if I'm going to do this, I have to bring up a Hulk versus Wolverine fight. And I can think of no one better to kick this off with one of the best Hulk and Wolverine fights from number 341. I think that's the right number. From number 341, the Todd McFarlane drawn Peter David story that had Hulk, like Wolverine on his way to battle the adversary in that storyline. Hulk, who was gray at the time, this is the Joe Fixit Hulk. They came across one another, and it became, of course, one of the most iconic covers in comic book history, with the claw, with Wolverine popping claws and the Gray Hulk looking through those claws. So that fight is a beautiful story. It's a bloody fight between Hulk and Wolverine, and yeah, it kind of showcase. I also love there's a scene where one of Hulk's friends is like, I swear to God, every time you superpowered yahoos run into each other, it turns into a fight one way or another. I always like that line, because it's kind of true. It's almost like Peter David kind of making fun of that. But no, it's one of the best Hulk fights out there, and it once again shows, like, Hulk and Wolverine have been, like, kind of tied intrinsically to each other. So, moving on to our next fight. Our next fight on this list, like I said, they're not ranked, so this is just, random ones. So another fight that comes to me is, of course, Hulk's fight with Sentry at the end of World War Hulk. That fight was insane. It's one of the most brutal fights the Hulk has ever been in, battling the Sentry in what is just a nuclear-powered slugfest between the two characters. It was just a knockdown, drag-out fight between these two titanic characters. And again, it does kind of do some circle jerking for Sentry, because they were really trying to push him at the end, but still, it was a brutal-ass fight. And it was just a explosive ending to the World War Hulk event. So there you go. Next one, speaking of World War Hulk, let's go back to issue 1, where Hulk and Iron Man had one of their most brutal fights. Yep. Hulk and Iron Man in this fight, where Tony unleashes a new Hulkbuster armor, in order to be the first line of defense against the Hulk. And yeah, Hulk is gunning for Stark, because again, he blames him for the destruction of Sakaar, the death of Kyera, all of that. So that was a great opener to that event, which I really enjoy. Like, it was an event that just made you go, oh man, Civil War really sucked, but Secret Invasion is on the way, or it already happened. I can't. Yeah, Secret Invasion's on the way, but still, this is a nice, like, take a breather kind of event. And it was that Hulk Iron Man fight was a great intro. Speaking of Iron Man fights, because I'm not going to limit myself to just one fight between these characters, another fight that always stuck out to me between Hulk and Iron Man was from the original Sin tie-in. In that storyline, Hulk discovered through the orb using the Uatu's eye, revealed to him that Tony Stark was the reason the Gamma Bomb was faulty and created the Hulk, leading to Banner using Extremist on the Hulk in order to battle him and try to kill Tony. It was a great miniseries written by Mark Waid. It was a awesome fight, and it really kind of showcases, like, yeah, Tony in that age of his life was probably fucking stupid enough to do something like that. So yeah, I wanted to mention those two fights. Next up on our list is one I think no one really talks about. This is a fight that no one, I don't think, ever talks about, because it's a one-and-done issue, actually written by Stan Lee. That issue being the Mighty Thor number 385. In that, we have one of the greatest Hulk and Thor fights in a one-and-done issue, where in there, Hulk has been separated from Banner in the Hulk books, and is now just a rampaging monster who's come across Thor and Hulk challenges him to a fight without Mjolnir. What happens next is one of the most brutal fights I have ever seen in a comic book. Like, Hulk grabs a train off the rails as it's moving and just smashes it over Thor's head. They go through buildings, they go through cities, all in one issue. It's one of the most brutal fights I've ever seen in a comic, and I would be remiss not to bring that issue up. Following that, Fantastic Four number 112, The Battle of the Behemoths, another Stan Lee written book, because of course we need to have a fight between the Hulk and Thing showcased in here too. It's arguably one of the best fights between the Hulk and the Thing, where in there, the Thing knows he can't beat the Hulk. Like, he knows in a one-on-one matchup, he cannot beat the Hulk in a fight. So, Thing has to use both his bronze and his brains in order to combat this monster. And it's a brutal fight for Ben, because he is clearly the underdog in this matchup. But it does showcase that the Thing's smarter than than most people give him credit for. Anyway, so next up, another Hulk fight, a Hulk versus Thor fight, where Hulk and Thor battled for an entire event, the Banner of War event, where the Hulk, who is now being piloted by Banner, battles Thor, who has his Mjolnir being reformed with the soul of Odin in there. It's one of the most insane things I've ever written, and only Donny Cates would make something like that. It was a five-part miniseries of just giving you what you want. Hulk and Thor throwing down in just an almighty clash to finally see who's the strongest between the two of them. It was meant to celebrate both the Hulk and Thor's 60th anniversaries, and it shows. We have Hulk becoming Thor and Thor becoming Hulk. It was just crazy. It was just absolutely nuts. So, I digress. So moving on to our next one, Hulk versus Silver Surfer. Hulk versus Silver Surfer, and I'm talking specifically during Planet Hulk, where Hulk had to battle the Norrin Rad in the Gladiator arena in order to be free. It's a brutal showcase of Hulk's power, and also shows that while Norrin was they do kind of explain that Norrin's power was depleted a bit. It does showcase that Hulk, when you get him angry enough, showcases that this is a guy who can, go toe-to-toe with cosmic beings. Another fight I would be remiss not to mention is from Incredible Hulk. I can't remember the exact issue, but it is an issue where Hulk does battle with Zeus. After climbing Mount Olympus in order to help his friends, Hulk demands Zeus to help save Hercules and the others. Zeus, being the almighty dick that he is, refuses, leading to Hulk doing battle with the all-god of Olympus. And it's a brutal one for Hulk's end. While Hulk, yes, does lose this fight, he does showcase that he can go to, he does show that even a god has to, use a lot of his power to fight him. To fight a monster like him. Next, and of course, I would be very remiss if I didn't also mention the fight between Hulk and Wolverine in their first appearance in Hulk number 181. The first time Wolverine ever appeared, also having the Wendigo in it, in a three-way matchup that did showcase that Wolverine and Thor were going to be doing this for a long time. Like, the two of them were going to be intertwined for what seemed like ever, right? Like, like that's what it really was that it was going to be like those two were going to be locked in combat with each other forever. So, yeah. So there you go. I think that was 10. Although like Zeus, I don't know if you count as a hero, but still. And I would also say that Hulk fighting Hulk was another one that I would have to bring up. And by that I mean Hulk doing battle with another version of himself, the Maestro Hulk. It does kind of count because Hulk was a hero, but that one may not count. Sorry, needed some water. But anyway, so there you go, guys. Those are my favorite Hulk versus Heroes fights. You guys tell me in the comments below, what are yours? And once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this request and continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.